Rice Pilaf. Yes. Thanks for tuning back in. What's up? I'm just hanging out, working on some rhythms and rudiments. What do we want to do? Do you want to do a play along warm up? Do you want to talk about a rudiment? You can ask any, like, if you have questions, you can ask anything you want. You have the floor, clearly. Uh, so yeah, we can do a play along. We can. Okay, nice. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for stopping by. Figure out how to properly do doubles quickly. Perfect. I'm glad you showed up. That gives me something to talk about. So, yeah, I'm going to give you a few different ideas. Yeah, doubles, match grip or traditional. Yeah, that's actually a good question. Thanks for jumping in there. But yeah, if you can answer that question about traditional versus matched, we can do that. But I'll stay matched for now. I'll give you a couple exercises. But one really good one for developing the double stroke is separating it into two separate strokes. And really try to keep in mind that the speed is going to come from proper technique, practice slowly. So, first thing is start up here. You play match. Perfect. Oh, that's cool. Um, yeah, I'm hoping you have your pad and your stick, but if not, you can just follow along. But if you have your stuff, follow along so you can practice. So you're up here, all right? We're starting up high, and then the first movement is dropping the stick with the wrist and letting the stick bounce while the hand stays low. Okay? So awesome. Okay. So you're up here, you drop the wrist, let the stick bounce up, but your hand stays low, and you can even try to maintain like a little subtle bend in it. An issue a lot of people have is they'll play this note and then the hand comes back up with it. Don't do that. Let the stick come up. This is where the pivot point between your fingers is so important, because the stick needs to come up, but the hand doesn't move. That's the issue. If you move, or that's a potential issue. Well, we'll talk about a few things. But if the hand moves up with it, you're in trouble already, because you're adding like an extra movement to the thing. So the first thing is you're here, you drop it, and really, put the fingers pretty much straight. Try to really exaggerate the movement, and then you stop there. So that's the first stroke. Because what a lot of people try to do, they just try to do two, and we'll get there. We'll do that. There is an exercise where you can kind of just practice making it bounce. But here, you're there. Get into this position, and from here, this is where you snap the fingers in. So the second note of the double is generated from the fingers and a little bit of the wrist on the upstroke. So the thing is, here, we're going to snap the fingers in like that, but you're not just going to stay straight like that. You're going to come back up on it too. So you're going to snap the fingers in and come back up to the original position at the same time. So we're here, and then you're going to snap and come up. Okay, and then you're back where you started with the fingers curved around the stick. Okay, so again, you're here, drop with the wrist, let it bounce, but the hand stays low, and then snap the fingers in and come back up. Separating it in, I know people are tempted to just go boom, 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 but literally force yourself to stop here. And if you can work on getting that position and then come back up, hugely helpful exercise. And of course, as you do increase the speed, that hand is going to come in a little bit. It'll become more of a closed position. You don't open the fingers up every single time when you're playing fast. They stay more wrapped around, but you're still going to have that sensation that you developed playing more slowly. So I'll show you how to practice that. Once you get these two movements, I'll show you. And also, I'm just going to throw it out there. If anyone else has questions, put them in there and I'll address it, because I'm just going to kind of stay on this topic until I get another question. And the topic of which is double stroke rolls and how to develop it and go faster. So you're here and you go 1, 2, 1, 2, and just practice that. 2, 1, 2. It's funny because the question is about going faster, and this is a very slow exercise. But a lot of the time, perfecting, or pretty much all the time, perfecting the technique slowly is what's going to generate the speed. So this is one great exercise. And once you get it down and you can separate the strokes, then you can make it fluid and go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You go like this. Another huge tip, this fixed my double stroke roll in university, but practicing accenting the second note of the double. So put an accent on the second note, forces you to come down a little more gently. Okay, we need to come down with grace and then snap the fingers and get that accent on the second note. What you don't want is a double stroke that sounds like this, where you got an accent on the first note. So you go 1, accent. So come down. I mean, you do have to, there's only so much you can do, but coming down, don't come down too hard on the first note of the double. And that exercise of accenting the second note of the double, huge. So you still do the same thing I was showing you, but you put the accent on the second note of the double, practice that way. And once you reach a speed where you're no longer able to maintain the accent, that's fine. You can just switch over into a regular roll. You accent, as long as you can. And once you can't anymore, you just let it go and try to play as balanced of a roll as you can. So that's a big one. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's a great question. And yeah, I am happy to talk more about it if you want me to. I do have more I can say about the double stroke. But if you're happy with that, that's cool too. And maybe someone else has a question, as I mentioned before. But yeah, we could stay on the double stroke roll, or if you have another question, let me know. I am actually just going to do one more quick little thing about it, because this is the slowed down. I just explained that. Another one you can do, which is a different idea, more about just getting a sense of the feel of the double, and the rebound of the stick on the double. Keep the fingers more wrapped around. Okay, we're not exaggerating the movement this time and putting the fingers out pretty much straight. Here, keep the fingers wrapped around. So it's a closed position with the fingers wrapped around, but there's always a little play in there. You never want to stop the play, but it's more of a closed position. And then you just try to bring it, try to get a little rebound. Just try to play 2 quick ones like that. So my hand does open at the top of the stroke a little bit, but down low, the fingers are more wrapped around, and it's just a quick little double with the fingers wrapped around, and that's a great thing to do to just get the sensation of the double. Okay, so work on getting the sensation of the double and the rebound, and also work slowly to exaggerate the movements. And with those 2 tips, it should really help you. I sincerely hope it does. And thank you for such a good question. Let's see. Let me catch up. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You're doing a rebound, and I know that I see you, Angelo. I know I changed the time because the neighbors just disrupted me. They started playing a lot of music, like they started playing really loud last week. So I was like, I'm going to try a little earlier this week and try to avoid that. We'll see what happens. But I haven't done a warm up. I haven't led a warm up yet. So if you're here for that, we can still do it. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Yeah, that little, I'm not sure if Michael is still there, but if he is, you're doing a rebound. But remember, the double stroke roll, it is a rebound, but it's a controlled rebound. You have to be in control of it. And that's that. So that's the double stroke roll for today. Anyone that missed it, come ask the question next week. Or I'll probably post this so you can go watch it. Yeah, no, you take the time to do the exercises I was suggesting. I'm telling you, it's going to help. Yeah. So does anyone want to go through a warm-up kind of pad session, working through the different types of notes with the metronome, or does anyone have another specific question? I'm up for whatever people want to talk about, and pretty much any question that gets asked will be relevant. So it's really just, do you want to play along or do you want to ask questions? That's all I need to know. What level are you guys? And whoever's in here, what level is everyone kind of playing at? Are we all beginners? I'm just gonna get a drink of water. All right, so I'm going to take us through a beginner. Well, it's not completely beginner. Like you have to know some stuff to play through this warm up, but you can follow along. I'm going to do it 60 beats per minute, and yeah, you can follow along. And basically, yeah, I remember, Angelo. So going through this stuff with the metronome will be helpful. So it's basically going to be 60 beats per minute. You can follow along. I'm going to go through quarter notes, eighth notes. We're going to do a bar of eights on the right, a bar of eights on the left. We're going to do triplets, 16th notes, and that'll be it. And then we'll do 2 bars of each at the end as a separate exercise. So, and I'm going to tell everyone when we're switching. So don't, I'm going to count off when we're going into a new rhythm or pattern. So I'll tell you what's coming up next, and then I'll count it off, and we'll switch into it. And if you miss it, then just hop back in. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I hope Michael, you're able to play along for this warm up. And if not, maybe just watch and see if you can get something out of it for your own warm-ups, because warming up is a great thing to do. And we want to do it. We want to be smart about it. So here we go. We're going to start with quarter notes. 1. Someone's calling me, messing up my metronome. Okay, here we go. Quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And like I said, we'll just stay on each idea. I'll tell you what's coming up next, and then I'll count it off, and we'll go into it. Yeah, Michael, I'm welcome. I mean, I'm happy to help you out as much as I can, especially during these live streams, because I think I'm going to do it and just try to create a little hangout of it and answer questions. And it's cool. I've been enjoying it. This is only the 3rd time I've done it, and at least one person with a question has showed up each time, and so that's been very cool. All right, so we're gonna go into eighth notes. So that's gonna be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 end. So I'll count that off. 1 and 2 and 3. Here we go. And 1 and 2 and 3. And you can see I'm doing nice big full strokes. I sometimes use the expression lots of wrist and lots of fingers. We're just trying to kind of stretch things out and get the blood flowing. Yeah, there's a little bit of that going on. I do tend to work molar into my playing. I'm not a purist, but it's something I've worked on, and I find it feels good, and I find it's a relaxing way to play. So I mainly do it because I think it makes me groove better. All right, so we're going to stay on the 8th note now, but we're going to do 1 bar on the right and then 1 bar on the left and just go back and forth. Okay, so I'll count that off. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Still 8s, but 1 hand at a time. And 4, left, 2, 3, 4, and 1. And you can see, like, if you're warming up, take your time. Get things going right, and you're going to play better when you go to work on the ideas of the day. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. We'll go one more time. Now we're going to go into a doubles, but still at the 8th note rate. So 2 and right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right. So and here we're working on our double. I mean, these are technically doubles, Michael. And so the next transition's a little tricky. We're going to go into a triplet. And for the triplet, we're just going to alternate. Right, left, left, right, left. So getting in and out of the triplet is a little tricky, but we'll do the best we can. I'm going to do my best to count a triplet on top of the 8th notes we're playing to prepare us. I'll count 1, 2, 3, and a 4 and a. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. So triplets, 3 notes per beat. 3, 4, 2, 3, and a 4 and a 1 and another cool thing to play is triplets, still triplets, but using the double stroke roll. So using a right, right, left, left sticking on top of the triplet. Pretty cool. I won't do it today, but one of these days. 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. 4 and a 1, 2, 3. And also, Angelo, counting. If you're coming back to it, get into counting. It makes us better drummers. It makes us able to keep better time, understand ideas more clearly, and notice when we're making mistakes faster. 1 and 2 and 3. It's hard. Yeah, Michael, it's hard. You have to go super slow, and you have to count it. 3 and but really, you would go like super slow. I'll show it in a second. Let's just finish the warm up. So we're gonna go into 16ths, our 1-enda, 2-endas, the famous. So here we go. Let me just finish this. I'm lost now. 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Wow, that's counting the new type of note over top of the old one is a little tricky. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. All right, we'll play one more bar and stop on the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So there you go. That's like a pretty straightforward warm up. When I do in person lessons, that's what I take my beginner students through once they know the different types of notes. Of course, if you're going to do that, you should probably practice the different types of notes with the metronome on their own before trying to flow between them. But that gives you an idea. And then if that seemed kind of simple to you, then you can start incorporate like even the more advanced students, I go through that exact same thing, except I include the triplet with the doubles that I mentioned. And we do 5-stroke roll, 6-stroke roll, 7-stroke roll, paradiddles, and then at faster tempos too. So depending on the student, it varies, but when you're by yourself and you're working on your own thing, it's up to us to figure out what tempo should I be doing this at. And yeah, well, that's up to you guys to figure it out. Okay, so triplets, but using the double stroke. When I say slow, I mean really, really slow. Count it out loud. So we're just going right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. But we're going to count a triplet. So we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and and the reason it's tricky, in my opinion, is because on the beat 2 and 4, the beat, the 2 and the 4 are on the second note of the double. So when we start doubles, we're normally thinking like 1, 2, 3. But when you get into other more advanced concepts, sometimes the pulse lands on the second note of the double. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on beat 1 and 3 here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it's the first note of the double. But on the 2 and the 4, it's the second one. If we look closely, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so that's something to keep in mind. And then it's kind of the same thing. You go 1 and 2 and starting on the right, and then you go 3 and 4 and starting on the left. So it's kind of like the same thing, but 1 and 2 are right. You start with the right, and then 3 and 4 you start with the left. It's a cool little idea, and it's a good mental kind of workout too to think about that kind of stuff. And of course, phrasing triplets and that over eighth notes and sixteenths, and just mixing the phrasing can be super cool too. Another thing I want to talk about sometime is inversions, like doing the inversions of the rudiments, but I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that for another day. See what you guys, my head melted trying that is really funny, Michael. But yeah, just do it super slow, and it'll be much more manageable. Okay, so you basically you just count a triplet, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, but you have to go back and forth doing only 2 notes on each hand. So the first part looks like this. The first 2 doubles, 1 and 2. So you can start with that. That's right, right, left, left. 1 and 2, and then that 2 is what I was talking about with the beat being on the second note of the double. 1 and 2. So start with that, and then you're just gonna you got to the 2. Then you're just gonna go and on the right hand. So 1 and 2 and you start with that, and then it's the same thing on the left side. 3 and 4 and That's what I was kind of saying about you. As long as you can get 1 and 2 and then you're going to be able to get the 3 and the 4 and because it's just the same thing mentally, but on the left side. You have to go slower. I have a feeling. Do it like this: 1 and 2 and yeah, it's tricky. But the answer is almost always going slower. And I talk about this with my students, well, especially newer students. When we say practice it slowly, I think generally what people think, like when I just say do it slowly, that could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. What is slowly, especially when you're new to it. But I think an important thing to remember is that when we talk about doing it slowly in music, what we should be hearing is do it really, 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 really insanely, unbelievably. I can't even believe I'm doing it this slowly. Slow. That's how slow you should be doing it. And that's how it'll kind of get in to your head. And then you can kind of pick up the speed a little bit. But yeah, very important to take that slowly, do it slow as like do it at 40 beats per minute kind of thing. Great. Um, what else was I gonna do? Michael, I'm curious, or anyone that participated in the warm up, was it a good tempo? Was it too fast for you, or was it too slow, or was it bang on, or like how did that feel? It was what we did was 60 beats per minute. So I'm just curious because I feel like I'm probably going to get to know at least a few of you, and I need to get a sense of the level and the kinds of things I'll do. And obviously, sometimes I'll cater to one group of people and maybe cater to another. But I want to have a sense of who's in the room, and over time, be able to understand and try to make it enjoyable for everyone. As hard as that may end up being to do, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try. Yeah, I know. You're facing a lot of the classic sort of conundrums because playing, it's like if there are a lot of mistakes when we play slowly or we're not placing the notes correctly, speeding it up, I understand the idea that it covers them, but it ultimately doesn't really. So I think it's important that we kind of accept that if we can't do it slow, but we can kind of do it fast, that's fine. You can play it, and sometimes that's what you have to do as you continue to work on it. But if you can't do it slow and you can do it fast, there's still some work to be done there because we should be able to play it tight and properly slow, and it is harder. But if you're able to do that, it's going to enhance the um, the quality of what you're playing when you're playing it faster. And it's a tough thing to accept. It is, but I do believe that. And maybe some people disagree with me, but that's why we're here. Get the conversation going. Yeah. Oh man, Angelo. Yeah, I feel you. You know, that's just that's the environment that you were in. I get it. I get it. But also, I'm not talking about telling the band to slow down. I'm talking about slowing down in our own practice and when we're perfecting our stuff in the practice room. I'm not saying go around telling people you can't keep up with them or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, so it might have been a bit slow, and but I do. It's fine, you know, doing a warm up as long as we're focused on the time and staying in time. Might be a little slow. Okay, so we did 60. Maybe next time we'll do 65 or 70, or we'll see. But doing it slow isn't bad, especially because a lot of people tend to not take the time to play slow. And I feel like actually I might not even do it faster next time because I feel like part of what I'm doing here is trying to share good practice techniques and good warm-up techniques. And if people aren't practicing slowly very often, it's going to help their playing a lot if they take the time to do it. So if it's for an hour or whatever, for a little bit with me once a week, then it's still going to help the playing, especially if people aren't doing it already. And I feel like a lot of y'all aren't. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you both being here and participating. You made it totally worthwhile today. And it's interesting with these live streams because you kind of have to hang out, and it's okay because I'm just going to practice anyway. So it's not wasted time for me, but you kind of have to hang out. And it's funny because people will pop in and I'll be like, hey, if anyone wants to do a warm up, and then they'll just leave. And that happened like a bunch of times. And it was like, I was probably here for, I don't know how long, 20 minutes or whatever, maybe a bit less. But I was here for a while, just kind of practicing, doing my little pitch thing. And people just leave, which is fine. But it's, it takes a bit of, stamina to stick around till people start showing up. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I think I'm pretty much going to wrap it up there. I think that was a great session. We got the warm up in. We talked about the double stroke roll and some other interesting ideas. So I'm going to stop there. Yeah, sweet. Awesome. Yeah, that's it. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to try to do it next week. I'm always putting the live thing up ahead of time. So if you go to the live tab, you can see what time I'm going to do it at. I'm going to try to keep it roughly the same time. But as I said, if I have problems with the neighbors or whatever, I might switch it to a different day. But for the time being, Saturday afternoon around 2, that's what it's going to be. So have a great weekend. Take care, guys. Thank you again. And we'll see you on the next one.